turejee hapa Nairobi ambapo katikati mwa jiji Gavana wa Benki Kuu Patrick Njoroge anatoa taarifa kwa vyombo vya habari kuhusiana na hali ya uchumi nchini. Hebu tumsikilize.
Have really fallen. And on the back of all this, of course, you also have the news about agriculture. Agriculture is chugging along, and that obviously is being will be impacted by the rains and the weather conditions, and indeed some of the transportation issues that they may be having from the farms, let's say from the farm gate to the various markets where these things are sold. Indeed, also the containment measures. So in a sense, we have mixed bag, but I think it is important to appreciate that there's a bit of a bifurcation between the advanced economies and ourselves. That said, we have not revised our focus for 2020. We have kept it the same as it was in April, and we will do this as soon as we have the actual Q1 data, which will be in a few weeks. Another thing that the MPC considered was obviously the economic stimulus program that was announced just last Saturday. It's interesting that the focus of this stimulus program is to cushion the vulnerable citizens and businesses, and also to enhance economic activity. So in a sense, to have a safety net for those vulnerable citizens and their businesses. It has actually targeted the critical sectors, and from the perspective of jobs, so employment, that is key, wages, that is really the focus. It is also interesting that the economic stimulus package or program has in its sights also the MSMEs, the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, of which we have said before, this is the backbone of our economy. So in a sense, targeted, and therefore less likely to, or rather more likely to be effective, and targeting the critical sectors. We as MPC looked at this and realized and appreciated, or should we say judged, that it has a high chance of success, and its expeditious implementation will be supportive of the economy. So those are the general points in terms of how the MPC saw the development of the economy, or the current structure, the conjuncture of our economy. In terms of the external sector, the exports for January to April 2020, this improved by about 5% compared to a similar period in 2019. Now, tea grew by 15.8%. That's huge. Both because of higher volumes and favorable prices. The higher volumes, I think those relate to the weather conditions and things like that. Now, horticultural exports, however, fell by 7.5%, but within horticulture, there's a lot of sort of dynamics, different dynamics of the components. So I'll mention some of this and move on. I think the first thing to mention here is about flowers, which is obviously a significant element of horticulture. And the prices improved in March and April. Obviously, volumes were much lower, particularly in April. We all know that there was the, let's say, lack of cargo flights, and those have been put in place. And so that is expected to grow. As a matter of fact, more generally, in May, volumes of horticultural exports in the first half of May was 63% of total volumes in May of 2019. So more than half. So you can see that they are coming back. And obviously all these exports are being by air. Exports during the same period, the first half of May, were in volume terms 90% 90% of the exports, flour exports in May of 2019. And in value terms, there were 87.5% of the flour exports in May of 2019. You can already see that these numbers show that there is sort of a return to normalcy in particular, let's say, sectors. And I think horticultural exports is one such sector. We should also say that this is on the back of various government policies or various policies, and indeed negotiation and approval, and indeed implementation of more cargo spaces or more cargo flights. Also the cessation of constraints that were, let's say, constraining exports, particularly flour exports in the main auction in the Netherlands.
Na mtazamaji, huyo ni gavana wa Benki Kuu ya Kenya Patrick Njoroge hapo akitoa taarifa kwa vyombo vya habari kuhusiana na tathmini kamili kuhusiana na hali ya uchumi nchini, na hasa akilinganisha mwaka huu wakati kama huu na mwaka uliopita wakati kama huu vile vile. Na bila shaka ni taarifa ambayo tunaifuatilia na tutakuwa tunakupa taarifa kamili kwenye taarifa zetu zijazo. Lakini tukisonga mbele ni kwamba